One morning you wake up, check your phone, and the person who used to text you every day just disappears. No goodbye, no explanation. They once made you feel seen, heard, cared for. But now their silence has become the loudest void in your soul. You start wondering, what did I do wrong? Am I not enough? I've met hundreds of people who felt that same emptiness, forgotten, dismissed, or simply no longer valued by someone who once mattered. And strangely, they all say the same thing: I just wish they could see me one more time. But here's the truth. Maybe the real issue isn't that they stopped seeing you, it's that you stopped seeing yourself. I remember a woman I coached in New York. She was a brilliant doctor, a devoted mother, but when her husband left, her world fell apart. Not because she lost him, but because she believed she lost her worth. During one of our talks, I asked, "What do you think gives you your value?" Her voice trembled. "Maybe, when someone still needs me." I smiled gently and asked, "So if no one needs you, do you stop existing?" She broke down in tears, because at that moment she realized she had never learned how to recognize her own value. The Stoics teach us this: when the world goes silent, when people walk away, that's your invitation to return within. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look inward. Within is the fountain of all goodness, inside you lies a strength no one can take away, yet most of us let it sleep, distracted by the gaze of others." So ask yourself, when someone stops valuing you, do you rush to prove your worth? Do you feel pain when you're forgotten, even if it's just a message left unread? If so, you're not alone. We've all been there. But Stoicism doesn't tell you to be cold or emotionless. It teaches something far more powerful: self-mastery. It's the strength of standing still in the storm, not because you feel nothing, but because you've learned not to let your emotions control your life. In today's video, I want to share 14 Stoic lessons, principles that have helped me and many others find peace when we no longer felt valued. These aren't dry theories, they're lived experiences from real people in real life. These lessons won't turn you into steel, they'll teach you to be gentle when needed and unshakable when it matters. Because sometimes, what you need isn't for someone to come back, it's to learn how to stay with yourself in stillness, freedom, and unshakable self-respect. So let's begin a journey to rediscover your inner power through 14 Stoic lessons that can change the way you see yourself and the world around you. 1. The silent shift. Transformation in stillness. Every relationship changes, but what truly hurts is not the change itself, it's our resistance to it. I once counseled a middle-aged man from California. After 20 years of marriage, his wife suddenly asked for a divorce. He was devastated, confused, angry. He asked me, "What can I do to make her come back?" I replied, "It's not her you need to bring back, it's yourself." Silence isn't the end. It's an invitation to pause and realize how far you've drifted from who you truly are. The Stoics call this the silent transformation, the moment you stop fighting reality and start listening, accepting, and growing from within. Sometimes losing someone is life's way of guiding you back to your true path. 2. The power of emotional economy. Emotions are like currency. You only have so much to spend. If you pour all your energy into making someone love you, there'll be nothing left for yourself. Epictetus taught, "Do not try to control what is not yours to control." If someone no longer values you, stop spending your emotional wealth trying to prove your worth. Invest instead in things that truly yield returns: your mind, your health, your character. I once had a client who exhausted himself trying to please everyone, his boss, his friends, his partner, until he couldn't sleep anymore. One day he said, "I realized I've been investing my whole life in stocks that never paid dividends." The day he stopped, he finally became rich again, not in money, but in peace. There's an invisible line, and once you cross it, you lose yourself. That line is when you kneel just to be loved. I know that feeling. When you want to send one more text, explain just a little more, or hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll change. But here's the truth. Love cannot survive when you trade away your self-respect. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do what is right. The rest doesn't matter." And what's right here isn't saving the relationship, it's saving your dignity. I once told a young woman, if someone can't see your worth, don't try to make them. Go where you no longer have to prove it. Sometimes, self-respect is the only thing that keeps you standing in the ruins. 4. Redefining value on Stoic terms. One of the most common mistakes we make is believing, if they don't need me anymore, then I must not have value. But to the Stoics, value isn't given. It's lived. I once met an artist who was left by her boyfriend because she wasn't successful enough. She felt crushed, ashamed, ready to give up her art. A year later, she sat across from me with calm eyes and said, "I get it now. The problem wasn't that he didn't see my worth, it's that I handed it to him too easily." You don't need validation to be valuable. A gold coin buried in the dirt is still gold. It may not shine, but it remains precious. The Stoic way is to prove your value through action, not through approval. 5. The choice between reaction and reason. The moment you're hurt is the battlefield, where emotion and reason fight the fiercest war. You want to react. You want to send that message, say something sharp, make them feel your pain. But the Stoic chooses a different path. They pause. I call it the golden moment, those few seconds of silence before you respond. In that silence, you decide who you are, a victim or a master of yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about them. If you believe they've hurt you, you'll feel pain, but if you see it as a test of calm, you'll grow stronger." Reason doesn't kill emotion, it guides it, and when you learn to choose reason over reaction, you step into the deepest level of freedom. 6. The mirror of indifference. When someone starts acting indifferent, our first instinct is panic. We think, what can I do to make them care again? But in Stoic philosophy, someone's indifference is a mirror, reflecting your own dependence. A friend of mine once wrote in his journal after a painful breakup, "I'm not afraid of her silence. I'm afraid of my own." The Stoic learns to view another's coldness not as an attack, but as a signal, an invitation to awareness. You start to see that you've handed the keys to your happiness to someone else for too long. And when you finally take those keys back, you realize no one owes you their care forever, but you owe yourself a lifetime of love. 7. Freedom through acceptance. An older man once told me, what exhausts me isn't that she left, it's that I still can't accept it. To a Stoic, acceptance isn't surrender, it's one of the bravest acts of reason. Epictetus said, "Don't wish things to happen as you want them to. Wish them to happen as they do, and you will find peace." When you stop fighting reality, you don't become weaker, you become lighter. I remember the first time I lost someone I loved. I resisted, raged, blamed. But the more I fought, the deeper the pain grew. Only when I began to accept that everything has its cycle, that people come and go like changing seasons, did I finally feel free. Acceptance isn't indifference, it's the gentle nod to life that says, whatever happens, I can still be at peace within myself. 8. Detachment is not disinterest. Stoicism doesn't teach you to suppress emotions, it teaches you not to let emotions run your life. When you let someone go, it doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to control what was never yours to control. A student of mine once told me, I still love him, but I don't hurt anymore. It sounded paradoxical, yet it was the highest form of freedom. Letting go doesn't mean walking away with a cold heart. It means walking away with gratitude and self-respect. Seneca once wrote, "The brave person is free." And there's no act braver than smiling as you release what you can no longer hold, while keeping your heart kind and your spirit whole. 9. The power of stillness. In today's world, we're surrounded by noise, notifications, social media, endless conversations, but in Stoic philosophy, true strength is born from stillness. I once worked with a young CEO who told me, "I always have to be doing something. If I'm not busy, I feel useless." I suggested he spend just 10 minutes a day sitting quietly, doing absolutely nothing. A month later, he came back with a calm smile. I realized that when I stopped running, I could finally hear my own voice. Stillness isn't an escape from the world. It's how you take command of it from within. The Stoic doesn't find wisdom in the crowd, but in moments of quiet awareness. 10. The art of perspective. One of the classic Stoic techniques is called the view from above. It's the practice of looking at your life from the vantage point of the universe itself. When you do that, every pain starts to shrink. Imagine standing under the night sky, billions of stars, thousands of light years away, and there, somewhere in that vastness, your story, your heartbreak, your worries, are no bigger than a grain of sand in the desert of time. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself whenever he felt anger or pain, "View everything as if you were high above, looking down on human life. Then you'll see there's nothing worth losing your peace over." When you shift your perspective, the pain doesn't vanish, but it loses its power over you. You begin to see clearly that loss is natural, that everything is passing, and that nothing can destroy a mind that understands this truth. 11. The danger of emotional debt. There's a kind of debt we often carry without realizing it. Emotional debt. We owe people explanations, attention, perfection, or so we think. A student once told me, "I have to do everything perfectly, so he'll finally see my worth." I asked her, "If you have to earn love that hard, is it really love?" The Stoics believe that every emotional debt makes us poorer. We pay with time, self-respect, and sleepless nights. And as those debts pile up, we lose the most valuable thing we have, inner freedom. Remember this, you don't owe anyone your peace just to be accepted. If someone makes you feel like you must pay to be loved, it's time to stop investing in that relationship. 12. Becoming the source. Everything you've ever sought in others, love, validation, attention, already exists within you. When someone stops valuing you, it doesn't mean you've lost your worth. It means it's time to supply yourself with what you once searched for in them. Try this. Instead of asking, why don't they love me anymore? Ask, do I still love myself? Instead of craving someone to listen to you, listen to yourself. And instead of waiting for someone to save you, act. Read, write, move, meditate, create the life you deserve. Epictetus called this the independence of the soul, a state where your fulfillment no longer depends on anyone else, because when you become your own source of strength and light, you'll never run out again. Practice of reflection. Every night, Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, not to complain but to shine a light on his own mind. He asked himself, did I live according to reason today? Where did I let emotions take control? You can try the same. Write down what hurt you during the day, not to vent but to understand why it hurt so much. I once guided a man who had been betrayed by his partner to write every night before bed. After 3 weeks, he said, it still hurts, but I'm starting to understand myself. That's the first step to healing, understanding so you don't repeat. Reflection turns you into the captain of your emotional ship, no longer tossed around by every wave of rejection or silence. 14. The courage to be misunderstood. This is the hardest lesson, but also the most freeing one. When you live by your values, some people will not understand you. They'll say you're cold, detached, even heartless. But you don't need their understanding, you only need your own integrity. Epictetus once said, if you want to improve, be willing to be thought foolish and stupid. I've lived that truth myself. When I began practicing Stoicism, people called me emotionless, and too rational, but that very rationality saved me from foolish decisions in moments of weakness. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward even when others misjudge you. Because real peace doesn't come from being understood, it comes from knowing yourself. There's one thing I've learned after years of living with Stoic philosophy. We don't need to control the world, only how we live within it. People may leave, opportunities may vanish, love may fade, but inner peace, if you learn how to cultivate it, will never disappear. You see, all 14 lessons in this video aren't about making someone come back. They're about not losing yourself when they leave. That's the journey we all must take at least once in our lives. From dependence to self-mastery, from pain to awareness, from reaction to understanding. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Let the tranquility of your soul be your fortress." A fortress no one can break, because it's not built from stone but from reason, virtue, and self-respect. I've seen people transform completely after understanding this truth. A man once broken by betrayal now lives calmly and with purpose, exercising every morning, learning to love himself. A woman who cried herself to sleep for months now teaches yoga, helping others breathe again into their own lives. None of them were rescued by someone else. They were saved by awareness, the awakening that Stoicism brings. And I believe you can too. You don't have to become someone else. You don't have to prove you're stronger. You just have to begin with one simple act. Don't react, observe, don't run, stay present. Whenever you feel hurt because someone no longer values you, remember this. You don't need their permission to have worth. You don't need their apology to find peace. Peace is your choice, and it begins the moment you stop giving others the power over your emotions. Lift your head, take a deep breath, and tell yourself, I don't need validation to be worthy. I am free. That is the soul of Stoicism, not cold but clear, not emotionless but steady, not detached from life but deeply aligned with what is right. If you've stayed until this point, it means you too are searching for peace amidst chaos, for clarity and confusion, for a way to come home to yourself, and that's exactly why I created this channel, Stoic Awakening More. Here, every video is not just philosophy, it's a conversation between you and your deeper self. Together we'll explore how to bring Stoicism into everyday life, how to stay calm when criticized, how to regain balance after loss, how to love without losing yourself. If you found value in what I shared today, please subscribe, like this video if it touched you, and share it with someone who needs to be reminded that they are enough, strong, and worthy. Exactly as they are. Because sometimes, one right message at the right moment can change an entire direction in life. And maybe today, as you sit it in Sunte, you will be the one to plant that seed of peace for someone else. Thank you for walking with me to the end of this journey. Keep nurturing calm, dignity, and wisdom within yourself, because you deserve a life no longer shaken by others, but guided by the clarity of your own soul. This is Stoic Awakening More, where together we awaken, one breath, one thought, and one moment at a time. As you learn to say to the world, I'm still here, I'm still steady, I'm still me,